In today's episode of Postframe 360, we speak with Dan Van Orden from Idea Room to discuss how their 3D configurator tool enhances marketing, sales, lead generation for builders, especially in the postframe industry. We explored the tool's features, integration with Smart Build, and practical tips for how to grow your business. Hey, welcome back to Postframe 360. I'm your host, Josh Nowlin, and I've missed you guys. I've got a special guest here today. It's coming back after a little break of recording. I thought I've got to have a really special guest today because I need to make sure people are going to continue to listen to the podcast. And we come to you today with Mr. Dan Van Orden. Dan is with Idea Room, and without further ado, Dan, could you give a little introduction? Who's Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. Jazzed to be on the show. Thanks for having me, Josh. And I'm Dan Van Orden. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Idea Room. And we started the company about 14 years ago. So it's been quite a while. Actually, my business partner retired, which is how I became the CEO. But my background is a software engineer. So I helped build the software originally. And then I also moved through sales and ran sales for the company. So I know how to talk about the product. I helped build the product. I'm pretty technical. Now it's pretty fun running the company. So that's me.
Yeah, and Idea Room it's a 3D configuration tool. It's very, very fast, very user friendly, very simple to use. That's one of the things that I've really enjoyed about Idea Room. And when I'm trying to think, it was you said 15 years ago this all started for you with Idea Room?
On 14 years.
14 years. I do remember years ago you had probably one of your first clients, Wick Buildings, in the post frame side.
Yep.
They had, I stumbled across their website. Somebody said, "Hey, you got to check out this 3D tool." And so I at that time I was even working for a competitor, probably so to speak, and I was checking that out. And I was like, "This is really awesome." And I played around with it on their website for a while, and I thought, we have to have this. Someday the company I work for, we have to have this because this is really awesome.
Yeah, it's great. That's how a lot of people find us, is just seeing one of our 3D estimators out on a website. And most of the industries we got into, like post frame, someone chased us down to build the first one. And so that's really what happened with Wick. And then early on, we also worked with Lester Buildings. And it's honestly kind of a privilege to work with some of those companies early on and help you build the product. But you've got something special when people are chasing you down to, build something like this. So pretty nice.
Absolutely. And what a way to come into the post frame space than to jump on with two major post frame companies, too big, so to speak. And that's a good way to come in. A lot around it was a little bit after that, right, when Smart Build came along, and Smart Build has made a pretty huge splash in the industry. That's what Burrows uses. Our clients, our listeners, the guys listening to this and gals listening to this podcast are very familiar with Smart Build. That tool is amazing. We're not here to talk about that tool, right? We're here with you, but I'm leading up to the fact of, it does so many things great, but then it has some area to grow. And I'm really glad, Dan, that they brought you in we'll just call it a partnership, right? Where they brought in you to help fill their voids, so to speak, or things that they knew that they weren't good at, and vice versa. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. What you don't necessarily see when the most obvious thing we do is the 3D designer and estimator for buildings is we always integrate into your marketing and sales pipeline. And some of that is more in the background and you don't necessarily see it. But with Smart Build, that's kind of the integrate into your sales pipeline part of the conversation. And Smart Build is really a great expert salesperson tool, right? You design down to the precise specifications, the building, and you get that bill of materials. And so kind of pricing it out is a critical part of the sales conversation. And then operationally, it's critical to get a accurate bill of materials. And Smart Build really does that well. And when Keith and I were first talking, it's kind of like Smart Build is B2B, and again, an expert salesperson's tool. And what they were hearing more and more of is we need mobile support for consumers, and we want integrations into our marketing pipeline where you can track marketing analytics, and even integrating into CRMs where you track your sales process. And that's where Idea Room really focuses. So Idea Room is a little more B2C. We serve the consumer and the person like looking to purchase the building. We're often also a salesperson's tool. But yeah, we had two very complementary strengths. And even as like kind of early on in the industry, we always saw each other at trade shows and things like that. But ultimately, it just made sense. We have different focuses, different strengths, and yeah, we love having partners. I mean, that's kind of one of our philosophies: is work with the best software and other partners in the industries we're serving. So that worked out really well with Smart Build. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember very early on having some conversations with Keith myself, and as he was developing this software, and I remember telling him specifically, "Hey, if you can create a software that my wife could be sitting on the sofa at 10 p.m. with a glass of red wine and be able to easily design her she shed or barn dominium or whatever, then you've got something big." And throughout the process, when you're dealing with a one size fits all type software, it's hard to just keep that focus. And the more you're one size fits all, the more you have to fit into the back end of this thing, right? And with I said it for several years that love the tool. It does so many great things, but what it doesn't necessarily do well is that easiness, right? That very quick end user, like you said, the consumer being able to quickly get to a nice, quick 3D rendering and not worry about what materials necessarily it takes to build it or what the post layout is going to be, things of that nature. So when you came along and filled that void quickly and easily, it's just really amazing. So kudos to you guys for coming together on that, for sure.
Yeah, thank you. I love to hear that it's easy to use, because that really is the goal. And it just kind of emphasizes, when you're designing software, the consumer audience is very different from someone using it as a business tool, the salesperson. So yeah, I mean, one of the most important things in there is kind of the mobile optimization and support. And that's something we're constantly tuning. And it was something that was coming together like a really big revision of our mobile interface at the time I started talking to Keith about the partnership. So the timing was perfect, because if you look at your website analytics at this point, typically you'll see anywhere from 60 to 70% or even higher is mobile traffic. And like you're talking about, Josh, I mean, it could be your wife sitting on the couch just kind of dreaming about a barn dominium they want to build. And funny enough, it wasn't too long ago when we've been working on developing out our sales tools further in Idea Room, which is Sales View and the sales dashboard. And so I've been talking with more salespeople that use it as a tool. And I've heard about them, at midnight or 2 a.m., sitting on the couch and actually responding to customers that late at night, for whatever reason, are just playing around with designing a building. So it really does happen. And yeah, you want something quick, simple, and easy that anybody can use. And we spend quite a bit of time obsessing about that and making sure it's easy to use and fast. Yeah.
So one of the things that Burroughs found early on with Idea Room when we started working with you guys is just how powerful of a lead generation tool that it really is. And, all of our clients are builders at Burroughs, and they are in the business of selling a product or post frame building to a consumer. And so, if we could find a way to help them generate more leads which leads to them selling more buildings, which leads to them buying more buildings from us. We thought, wow, that would, it's obviously what we want to do. Right. So when we got to working with you and your team over at Idea Room, uh, we said, how can we do this? And you guys have been really good. We created a way, or you created a way that we could um, set up sort of, we'll call it a master account with Idea Room, and that our customers, our builders, could then jump on and piggyback off of us as their supplier and have that 3D tool uh, that they could post on their website. They could put on their social media posts, things of that nature, to drive more leads into their business. And it's working.
Yeah, ultimately, we kind of focus on two things, which is drive more leads and convert more leads for you. That's kind of the marketing side. And then make it faster and easier to work with the customer to tune and then close the sale, essentially. And on the lead gen side of things, this is where knowing how to use it is very important, because it's a really powerful tool to drive more leads. You got to use it well. So some of what I've seen be really effective is, for organic search, what you want is a lot of content, a lot of pages on your site. And people are out there searching for specific types of buildings they want to buy, whether it's a barn dominium, a 2 or 3 car garage, a workshop, whatever the case may be. And I've seen some eye-watering amounts of traffic be driven by some companies where, if you have landing pages for all those different types of searches people do for a post frame building, and then you include, 3 to 6 different kind of marquee designs as inspiration for people, you can then link into Idea Room with that building pre-designed. So they can find you better through that, those content pages. You can give them a little inspiration about real projects you've built, and then you can drop them into Idea Room with that building already designed, and then they're just tweaking it, right? So it's even kind of faster and easier to play around with ideas. I've seen folks take this one level further, which is you can replicate all of those kind of purpose-built design pages and make them location specific, right? Because a lot of people will look for, I want to, buy a barn dominium in Eel, Idaho, which is where I live. So the more you can kind of create those pages as content to be kind of indexed and target your, the audience you want to attract, and then you integrate the 3D builder into there. Because you can always have a big kind of prominent button on the homepage. But this is kind of a better way to both qualify the traffic, drive more of it, and then really get Idea Room in there helping convert it. And then, some other things I've seen be really effective is use it in videos that you post on social media. You can actually do what I just talked about on social media, which is post building design inspiration ideas and then link them over into Idea Room. That's pretty effective. But video is really nice. You can do something like, feature a real building that looks really nice that you've kind of built as a project. Even potentially talk about the customer story, and then kind of interleave that with the 3D tool. So it's like, bring your idea to life, right? Here you are designing it in the 3D designer and then translating it into the real world. And I've seen folks get a lot of juice out of, running Facebook ads with videos like that. And driving traffic to their configurator. And generally speaking, what we see, because we do track these analytics, we've seen folks get, like 200% to 300% increase in kind of the conversion rate and the number of leads they get kind of through some of those channels.
That's fantastic. That's a great number to have that kind of conversion, to bring in those kind of leads, and your tool, the Idea Room tool, it's definitely geared up to help our clients bring in. Now, what if our clients sitting here listening to this podcast, they're driving in their truck on their way to the job site, and they're thinking, man, this sounds really cool and everything, Dan, but man, I'm just a builder, I'm a good builder, and that's why people buy from me. And I know I need to start marketing for my business, but honestly, everything you just said was like in Japanese. Like I didn't understand hardly anything. Are there any tools or uh, quick tips or anything that Idea Room has for the customer just to send them, down the right path as they learn how to market their business using a tool like, Idea Room?
Yeah, I mean, we've got some educational materials that we give our customers when we first sign them up, kind of talking about some of these techniques. But ultimately, yeah, you're talking about adding pages to your website or doing some more activity on social media, and you do need someone to do that. The reality is, though, like social media, often it's best to even just have authentic content. So if you're a builder and you're out there on a job and you're doing work, even doing a Facebook Live or recording a video there, if you can share real projects you're building to your social media, that's a really effective way to do it. And once you have Idea Room, we make it really easy. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you work up that building design, you can like one tap, get a link, and just post that to Facebook. In fact, we're integrated such that if you design a building in Idea Room, you can hit share on Facebook, and it'll kind of immediately open it up to make it really easy to do the post. But yeah, we have some educational material we share early on to try to make some of this easier to do. And then we have a lot of really good marketing partners and others we can refer you to if you'd like to get more active in that area, but need a kind of a good partner to work with. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's really important for us when we talk. Like, it's important for me in every sales conversation I do that it's like, will you be able to take advantage of the tool? And so I often like just have a conversation about, all right, well, what are you doing now for marketing and selling? And then try to tailor those ideas to what's going to work for you as the builder and what you do to make it easy to use it to be more successful.
No, that's really great. And we do have a pretty good solid handful of clients that already are taking advantage of the Idea Room 3D configurator, and taking they understand the value and how we can customize the 3D configurator with their logo and their icon and their information, and how it all ties right back through their smart build account. And so when your client is designing that building and they decide that they want to quote on it and they submit that, you're not only getting their information, it shows up in sales view, but it's also showing up in your smart build account already pre-designed. So when you open it up, you can give that client a call, or a potential client a call, and dial that thing in just like you normally would and come up with a price. It's so genius. It's a no brainer. It's affordable. I hope people listening, if they don't have it, they strongly consider it after listening to our podcast. One of the coolest features, though, Dan, I found in the mobile, we talked about how mobile friendly it is. And you could be standing at a trade show or visiting with a potential client at their property. And one of my favorite features is that little augmented reality feature where you kind of design their building or they design it, and you can push that button outside and scan the phone, and literally the building that you just designed will drop into the yard, and you can zoom in and zoom out, and it is just the coolest thing. And
Yeah, we've gotten a
it's
lot of
neat.
positive feedback on that, and actually, I've heard it used in some pretty creative ways. In fact,
Hmm.
going back to your question about just the average builder and how they could use this really effectively quickly. I mean, if you go out and you do site visits, that's a pretty cool one to use with the customer. Kind of show it to them on their property. If you're not doing a site visit, though, you can send them a link and they could use it themselves. Kind of place it on the property and take a look. Um, in terms of content, though, I actually have been on calls where people are like, I bought this drone and I want to use it to make some marketing content. But what they ended up doing was just taking images or videos using the augmented reality and then recording their screen. And they got some pretty good engagement on Facebook with that. In fact, it was better than some of the others, like just posting the link itself, was kind of take something in a real environment where you could kind of see the building preview. So yeah, there's some interesting and creative ways people have used it to really kind of help, drive more attention and leads. But it's very practical just in a sales conversation too. So um, actually, you mentioned Smart Build again, and that's kind of another one that's just really practical from integrating into your sales pipeline. The first time we saw that and demonstrated it with one of our customers that had Smart Build, I could see their eyes light up, right? Because it's like you can take that design, which you can work up really fast in Idea Room, and it just rebuilds it exactly as is in Smart Build. And then you can click that link in the sales dashboard and pop it open, and it's right there in front of you. A lot of folks find that's just the fastest way to get started with a building design. Because again, Idea Room is really simple and easy to work it up and snappy, and it kicks it into Smart Build, and the rendering's really fast. So often it can speed up kind of that first part of the process pretty easily.
Yeah, I agree. And that's one of the things I had mentioned early on in this call is that one of my favorite things about Idea Room is what it brings to the table is the ease of use. Anyone can do it, how quick you can do it. Or you know what, even if, like you said, even if you're a builder just wanting to speed up your normal process, you can do that with Idea Room. And once you save it, it pops right into your Smart Build configurator. If like all of our clients, they build differently. So they, not all of them, but they have different ways that they construct. So their Smart Build is set up the way that client builds. The coolest thing I think is super cool is that when your Idea Room building comes in, imports into Smart Build, and our client opens it, it's configured to how they build, the standard products that they build with and that they like to use. So that is just fantastic. The technology will do that for you.
Yeah, it's one of the nice things about partnering with those guys, especially when a company is already on Smart Build. There's a lot of data that goes into getting that set up and running. And a lot of that we can just do really fast by importing the Smart Build data. And of course, because we've already done that with you guys at Burrows, you kind of mentioned this, but for any builder that wants to work with us, it's a different kind of subscription where, generally speaking, all you're doing is rebranding it, putting it on their URL, getting into their website. So you're pretty much up and running within a week or two. And yeah, that's kind of a lot easier because we work with Smart Build and we work with partners like you.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I was really wanting to kind of to close this whole thing out with the idea of Burrows and Idea Room have worked together to do the legwork. To Burrows made an initial investment so that our clients can have access to Idea Room within, like you said, within weeks. They can have their own fully branded, ready to go to market 3D configurator that works great on websites, great in social media, very quickly, and it's very affordable. It's really a no-brainer. It's you can have it for less than you'd pay for a billboard on the highway. It's an amazing tool for an amazing price that generates leads. And if you don't have it, you should have it, right? And it will help you grow your business. It will bring your salesmen leads so that they can close more deals, they can buy more buildings. We're all more successful for it, right?
Yeah, and maybe just to add to that, so yeah, we've got a great deal for Burrow's clients, and there's no setup fee. So from a configuration perspective, it's very streamlined because we're working with you guys and that data is all set up and running. So there's zero setup fee. There is a more affordable kind of special price for the ongoing monthly subscription. And then if anyone that is hearing it on this podcast comes in before the end of October and kind of mentions having heard about it on here, I've instructed my salesperson, Alex, he's fantastic. If you talk to him, you'll love him. We'll add a little special discount on top of that for your first year. So yeah, it's a great time to get set up and running. It's fast, it's very affordable. And yeah, the way I think about this is, do you need more leads? Do you want to drive more leads or make your sales process more efficient? And even if you drive 50% more leads and kind of increase that number coming in on a weekly or monthly basis, that's where we really want to see you being very effective and making a lot more money than you spend on us. And yeah, we'll help you kind of look through and understand where you can use it in your marketing and sales.
No, that's fantastic, Dan. Also, your team, you've been working with your marketing side of the business, and you're setting up, or it should, by the time this goes live, idearoom.com/burrows, right? Will be
Yes,
live.
I should have mentioned that.
And
Thank you for
yeah,
remembering.
yeah. And just go to idearoom.com/burrows. And right there, it'll talk to you more, give you more information about everything that you heard today. As well as, please, as you all know, the listeners know, please feel free to reach out to me, josh.nowlin@burrowssupply.com, burrows-supply.com. We also have the configurator tool on our website that you can feel free to jump on and play around if you just want to get the feel for it. And this is so good. I'm so happy to have had you on the show today, Dan, and look forward to a bright future together, my friend.
Yeah, appreciate it, Josh. It was great to be on, and we love working with you guys. And yeah, hopefully some people hear it and we can help them grow their business.
All right. And I will end the show and by saying again, idearoom.com//burrows. I will put that link in the show notes, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks, Dan.
Yep. See you.